Oh, look at her. She all her food. Jesse, you're done, you're done.
Oh, man.
Yeah. There we go.
Lou, you're muted. He's muted again. He's muted.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm here.
There you go. There you
Well,
go.
keep in
There
mind,
you
I'm
go.
new. Keep in mind, this is new to me doing it this way. So, you know.
All good, brother. All good. All
Hey,
good.
get this. I got some new streaming services on my device. Now I got Amazon and Peacock.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah. Now I don't have to miss Rutgers basketball for the rest of the year. Thank God.
Cool.
I'm from New Jersey. Come on.
It's the only sports they're good in.
He's got a
You
Rutgers
should have
shirt
had
on
a
for
hurt
crying
guy.
out loud. He's got a Rutgers shirt on for crying out loud.
Yeah. I've been following Rutgers basketball since 1978. You know.
Yeah. Be one of the few.
Right.
I'm glad
That's
that
when
glad I didn't end up going to Hawaii since it was a 5 overtime game. So.
No, dude. Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, we
Who
had
would have thought
talked.
that?
Well, we had talked about that too. About it going super long and missing a flight or something stupid like that.
Yep.
You know what? You know what I think they should do? Now, here's my thought. I think
Okay.
it's a little bit too close when they get to the third overtime. They do these conversions. I think it's just a little bit too close because it's really easy to make. I think maybe they gotta back it up a bit. Like maybe say the
Push it up. 8?
anywhere between like 8 to 10.
Well, 10 would be traditional, 10 yards, 4 downs. Is that what you're talking about? Just make it a little bit more attainable.
No,
OT.
when we get to the third overtime in college football, because they do it from the 3, and anybody can make that. Even I can do it with my eyes closed. You got to make them work for it a little bit.
Try running on the Georgia D up the middle on 3rd and 2 and get back to
That's the exception to the rule.
Yeah, there's some
Those are
pretty
exceptions.
defensive
Yeah,
lines
Notre
in the
Dame had no-
football world.
I was gonna say,
We got some defenses on our hands.
what Georgia defense are you talking about?
Well, yeah, maybe not. Well, 23 today, but you get my gist. Hopefully, like an Alabama.
Yeah.
Those 3rd and 4th and shorts are no easy yard, no easy foot for some of these offenses. But it would liven it up if they moved it back. I guess. I don't know. I always like the defense. I like those defensive struggles on the goal line. Got to earn those 6 points.
Yes, you do.
Honestly, I wish they would have just left it alone.
Yeah, it's got a little bit too gimmicky. I mean, it's just so many different rules. When OT hits, I'm kind of like, oh, well, let me just follow along a little bit as best I can.
Well, I've always been a big fan of the NHL overtime rules for playoff games.
Yeah, I like that one.
We just dropped the puck. Sudden death, and you play until you have a winner. No special rules. No playoffs. Personally, I think a playoff game should not. Understand the shootout. It's fun. It's different. It's gimmicky. It's to keep people engaged. It helps if you plug it in all the way. Excellent. Okay. And then the playoffs. I think playoffs you should just line them up and go. And
Yeah.
if I had my, if you want to do silly things like the 2-point play in, after the third overtime, you do that in the regular season. But in the playoffs, I think it should be a 15-minute. Each team should get one crack at it, and then it goes to sudden death. Next team wins. Next score wins.
Yeah. Like they do in the NFL for playoffs.
Yeah, because that's and
Yeah,
it's
that's right.
sudden death.
I do like how they made it a requirement. First to touch, it has to score a touchdown. I like that variation because people aren't just going to win a coin toss and 90 seconds later they kick a field goal. You got to score on that first possession. You got to get into the end zone. I like that variation of it.
Yeah,
but
you see, because the other team was bitching at one point, like, oh, we didn't get a chance to get the ball, and so we lost.
They do.
That's not their problem that they were get the ball first and scored, and you couldn't. Your defense sucked. That's why you lost the game.
Yeah, I like that where it's you gotta earn 7 your first trip down, or the other team gets to touch it. I hate when a field goal decides, especially if someone's gotten into overtime working their tails off, and then they see a 45-yarder go through to lose.
Right.
I want both teams touching the ball. If they can score it off the rip, though, hey, if the defense can't stop them, their offense doesn't deserve to get the ball back. So
no,
I like that.
I think it should. I think each team should get one possession. We just kick off.
Yeah.
We put 15 minutes on the board. Each team gets a possession, and then if both teams scores, we go to sudden death. Next points wins.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that would take care of everybody complaining about everything. You know the score.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows the rules. No special rules. No gimmicks. No. Gotta go for 2. No, got it. Okay, we're just gonna run 2-point plays until we have a winner, and it could go into 9 overtimes. Just 15 minutes on the clock. If we don't have a winner after 15 minutes, we rack them up and we run it again, just like they do in the NHL, just like they do. And honestly, if if you want to do gimmicky stuff in the because I know the NHL has a shootout during the regular season.
Fine.
And they have the 3-on-3 overtime in the regular season. I'm okay with that. But I think playoffs should not be decided by a gimmick. You have 18 skaters in the case of the NHL, you have 18 guys on the ice that contribute, and it shouldn't come down to a skills competition. All 18 guys should be it shouldn't come down to the best. The team that gets lucky and gets their guys out fresher. And I think and in the NFL, I think both teams should get one possession each, guaranteed one possession, both sides. So if you go down and you score a touchdown, the other team gets a chance to answer. And then if they score, then we go to sudden death.
Death. Yes.
No, I agree with that.
And next score wins. Kick it off. Honestly, I'd like to see kickoffs go away. I think they should just do away with kickoffs. I'd like they had how many successful onside kicks did we have this year? 4.
Well, the new way they show their hand in the new format. The old school format, if you had a good kicker, they could lace those nice onside kicks. There used to be more, but I don't know. I kind of like that element of the game, Adam. I don't know. Well, then again, we don't have the big returns. Like you're not going to see it Neon Dion or some of these other electrifying kick returners. They took that out of the game. Maybe they'll take out the whole thing next, but I don't know. Do you guys, Adam, you don't like the kickoffs? Do you guys like it? Lou and Brad?
I don't really have any problem with that.
Yeah.
No, I don't mind the kickoffs. I like the. I mean, a lot of people don't like the new kick rules that they have put in place this year, but it has made it more exciting on kickoffs. Being that, I was at a college football game my first year I covered USF, and there was 2 90-yard kickoff returns for touchdowns in the same game.
But those are so few and far between.
Well, and but you're exactly right. They're not as common as they used to be. We're not talking like, Devin Hester and Who was the kick returner for the Chiefs? That
Deontay Hall.
Dante Hall.
Yeah.
So we're not, we don't have, there's like Alex mentioned, there's not really anybody that is feared as a kick returner. Like no one's like, oh, we can't kick it to this guy. So, I mean,
90% of your kicks end in touchbacks. Anyway,
well, I mean, if you take away kickoffs, would you also take away extra points, make them go for two?
No.
What do you propose? No. Everyone starts at the 25. Just 30 with 25, whatever.
Yeah, we go to commercial. We come back from commercial. Let's say the Lions are playing the Vikings this Sunday, right?
Yeah.
And say the Vikings get ball first. We have the coin toss. We have anthem, coin toss, and then the Vikings get the ball to start the game. And we go to commercial after the coin toss. We come back out of the commercial. Vikings are on the field with the offense ready to start play. And then let's say the Vikings go down, score. We kick the extra point. We go to commercial, come back out of commercial. Lions have the ball in their own 25. And if Minnesota, and then for an onside kick or a chance to steal a possession, however you want to, you have one untimed 8-yard play to gain 8 yards from your own 25.
Have to get it voted through. it's a good, funky. It's radical, but it's creative. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of people that want to do like a 15-yard play or a 12-yard play.
Yeah.
Maybe if you want to do a surprise one, you have to do 15. Maybe inside 2 minutes. Maybe inside 2 minutes you have an 8-yard play. Outside of 2 minutes you have a 15-yard play. From your own 25, and then the ball automatically gets placed at your opponent's 40 if you don't convert.
Yeah, good work.
Because I really don't want to I don't want to punish you for trying to gambling.
No.
I don't want to over punish someone for gambling.
How do you over punish?
Well, like putting the ball on your own. So let's say the Lions. Let's say it's late in the fourth quarter. Lions are down by 7 or down by 13. They get a touchdown.
Okay.
Now they want to get the ball back. But you don't want the Lions to have to put you don't want the opponent to be stuck giving you don't want to put the ball in their own 25.
No.
Like you want to give them and then standard rules apply. Like if it's picked off or you fumble, of course the other team can score. But if they don't score, then the ball just automatically goes to your 40. So if the Lions were trying this onside play, and they didn't convert, then Minnesota takes over the ball at their own 40.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of manage risk versus reward kind of management.
Right, of course.
Listen, we saw it just now, though. I mean, the best teams, the best coaches, at least this year. I mean, from he's much maligned, but the Notre Dame coach, he went for it on a couple fourth downs. An hour ago, 2 hours ago. That's why. I mean, Georgia, even with this younger quarterback, they were dead.
They were so close.
They were dead set to coming back. It was like Notre Dame was kind of holding on until the dam broke.
Yeah,
and thank God, Saved by the Bell. They're out of there with a win. They earned it, but I mean. I do like that though. Like with the onside element though, I kind of like that. It's coaching. It's more strategy. So I do like it.
It takes some.
And like they're going for it. I was just saying like that. Like the Notre Dame coach Campbell's, your guy Campbell's a great coach with that. Like the best coaches are usually some of the ballsiest. They'll make those tough calls, and because they can trust their defense to bail them out if they don't get it.
Yeah. Well, and the thing I like about the like an 8-yard play is not super hard to get, but it's it's like super right in the middle.
Yeah, it's right there. Again, if you're confident, you go for it. Like you kind of up to the ante, and let's take a risk.
Like and like if you have a great running game, you might it opens up the playbook. Everything's available. If you really feel like if your offensive line has been blowing them off the ball all game long, and you think you can get 8 yards on the ground, you can run the ball. You can throw the ball. You can throw it short. You can throw it deep.
Yeah.
One play, 8 yards untimed, and then if you don't convert the 8-yard play, then the ball goes to the other team at their 40.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Hey guys, just to let you know, not to cut you guys in the middle conversation, but I'm having a fantasy guy come on next week. Remember Dustin?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he just confirmed with me that he's coming on next week. So, yeah,
that'll be
Looking
fun.
forward to it.
Hell yeah.
Fantasy baseball, or does he specialize in one season, one sport?
Alex. He's football. He was on before. Nice. And I tried to get Mikey, the other guy, and he tells me that because it's at the end of the season, he's getting ready to shut down and take a break. I think he's got kids too, so he's like he wants to take a break away. So
that's fine.
Cool. And right. I talked to Jeff Barnes, our draft guy. He will be on
we need to get him on.
So I have to. He had some accolades. I think he won an award at the end of the year, and come to find out, his wife graduated from USF, so she's an alumni at the see him at. So he asked me like what was up, and I said, well, I'm getting ready to cover baseball and softball and lacrosse at USF. In fact, every Friday next month, I have something going on, either lacrosse, softball, or baseball.
Nice.
Except on Valentine's Day. On Valentine's Day. So
it's freezing outside. I can't play lacrosse this time of year.
Florida.
Well, it's the funny thing about baseball and softball is the stadiums are like connected. So when you hit a foul ball for one, it goes into the other field. That's just how close the fields are to each other. So, but it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it last year, so I'm looking forward to it again this year.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
College schedule seems a little weird.
But I wanted to kind of let you guys. We had talked about that last night in our meeting that get guests. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to go out, and I contacted Dustin because you guys said you wanted to talk to the fantasy guy. I'm like, he's like, yep, just confirmed that he'll be on. So he'll be on.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, I love having the fantasy guy on at the end of the season, kind of like an autopsy, opposed to an after action report. Now that the fantasy, this is the last week for fantasy football this year. I like breaking it down and seeing how I think we had Dustin on the show before. I think we had him on with the other. I think we had him both, and he's the Buffalo guy, right?
He's the Buffalo Bills fan, yeah. So
okay.
we can chat with him about the Bills next week too.
Yes. Right.
Yep. Yeah. And what was I gonna say? Now I forgot my train of thought. Dang it. Okay.
That's okay.
It'll come back to me.
I just wanted to I'm just taking notes and everything here, so
as am I.
Getting ready for next week. As we do this thing. But no, I'm in the third place game in my league this week. So
that's what I was gonna say. My best friend, my former roommate, he won. He won his fantasy league this year.
Cool. Good for him.
He texted me the day after Christmas or New Year's Day, either New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. Right. He texted me. He said, "Hey man, congratulations! We are fantasy champions." And I'm like, "I didn't do anything." He's like, "Yeah, you did. You helped me pick my team." I'm like, "Did I? I don't remember helping you draft your team in the past. I did, but I didn't. I don't.
Yeah, I know. A couple years.
So.
A couple years ago. No, I love fantasy football. It's so much fun.
I played 1 year of hockey, and I won, and I'm stepping away.
Baseball, if you can incorporate minor leagues in baseball. That can be the most intense because it's the deepest rosters. You might have I think I have 55 guys on my baseball team. So that gets fun though. Like AAA, guys get called up. You're drafting prospects as well as the real day players. So you're looking at the minor leagues, the farms for all the clubs. It's really cool, and it helps a lot with not for me or anything, but just for your that previous guest who was a real fantasy expert in baseball, Brad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's really just sparked so much interest around the globe. I don't know. I've
Well,
always
if you guys want, I can bring him back on when
he was
baseball
solid.
starts
Yeah, I
up,
like him.
Sure.
or before the
Yeah,
baseball.
he could.
Why don't we do that, guys, during spring training before
training.
baseball starts to kind
Yeah.
of get an
Yeah.
advantage?
Yeah, he was good.
What I'm gonna do, guys, is before we have him on again, I'm gonna get his book and read it so that I
Okay.
can ask him questions about the book. Because
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
I'm gonna do that, and if you guys want, I mean, I can send you a copy or a page or whatever of it if you wanted to do
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
You could always just like send us a quick synopsis of the book,
Yeah,
like, and then we can go from there.
yeah. Like I said, I do like the idea that we talked about last time, guys. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and start compiling next week's show, even though we're gonna have a guest, but I'll start compiling stuff for next week, and then I'll just send it to you guys so you guys can look at what I'm gonna talk about. And like I said, if you guys see something within the article that I missed and you want to emphasize about, just go ahead and say, "Hey, Brad, on this one, I want to emphasize more on this part of it," or
of course.
I saw something that I read that you didn't catch. Because I don't catch everything. I just read just the nit bits, and sometimes I'll miss something important that we could talk about, and so
Yes.
Well, it gives us like an idea of where we want to go with things.
And I honestly can say that I do like the synergy that we have, the four of us, and I'm hoping to get Gerald back someday. I don't know what's going on with him. I haven't
He'll be
talked
back
to him in a while.
Have you guys talked to him recently?
I haven't talked to him since Christmas.
Okay.
He seemed to be getting better. He seemed to be getting back into stuff. So
cool.
I don't think it's gonna be too long before he may be able to come back. I mean,
Sweet.
he is expected to restart his show. I can't say exact what date, but it could be before January is over. It could.
Cool.
At least
Good for him.
Yeah. It'd be nice to have him back.
Yeah. So I guess, guys, we're down to the Final Four in college football.
We are.
Yeah. And two upsets we had this week. My goodness.
Yeah, I don't think we never would have thought that Ohio State would have beat Oregon that bad.
Never.
Was something that today I'm not surprised about Georgia.
You're not.
Well, no, they had a backup quarterback.
No, that's true. That's true.
They're not the same team that they were when they won their back-to-back national championships either. They don't dominate teams like they used to.
Right. Because I was doing the same thing. You know, with their head quarterback out, I think it was going to be maybe Notre Dame's advantage, and I went with that instinct. A lot of people thought I was crazy for thinking that. No, how are they going to beat them?
I took Notre Dame too.
Their backup is their head quarterback is out. That's going to be a perfect advantage because sometimes teams can take advantage of that, and they were able to do that, and I was right. So my family will think I'm crazy. That owes me a very big apology.
It's not. I mean, it's a cool pick, but I mean,
sorry, Mark.
The backup quarterbacks in. Yeah, I mean, I want Notre Dame too. Yeah. Notre Dame's got the best Notre Dame defense in years, facing an untested quarterback. Advantage Notre Dame. They got it done.
Yeah. Well, all right. Can you guys all still see me?
Yes.
Yeah.
You disappeared, but we're so happy that you're back safe, Flip. You're right here.
Speaking of that, now they get Penn State. Do you guys think that they can beat Penn State too?
I don't see why not.
It's possible.
Toss up to me.
Well, look, it's,
two really outstanding defenses. I would see it as being low scoring if I had to choose at least that much. Like today, like a 21-18, 21-17. It's going to be a battle for points, which is cool. I love that.
Battle for 4 quarters.
Yeah, for sure. It's a nice combination of matchups for sure. The Final Four. Good Final Four.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Good parity. Notre Dame's finally kind of there after so many years. I mean, we all remember they used to be like the team before Saban's boys came along, before the Kirby Smarts guys. So A lot of America love Notre Dame too. A lot of ND fans out there as well. They're finally kind of back now.
Who do you guys like? So you guys all like Notre Dame to beat Penn State in the first game?
I want to see the money line.
Yeah.
I want to see the numbers.
I'm curious, Butter, that I don't think it's out.
I'll look it up right now.
It's out this early?
There you go.
I wouldn't think so. I don't think they'd be out until early tomorrow. Tomorrow at the earliest.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, let me check
this game.
I'm checking FanDuel right now.
Go for it. Sounds good.
They might be up.
They might be up, but yeah, they might be up, but I wouldn't. I'm not sure yet.
Maybe. Let's see what we got.
Seems like it's a little early.
Notre Dame's the slight favorite, minus 1.5 points. Notre Dame.
Ooh.
So just an ever so slight favorite. If you take Notre Dame, but they don't win by at least a field goal, you still lose. So it's a toss up. 1.5. Yeah, that might change before the game too. It's January 9th. So that's just a good matchup. It's very even.
Well, I think the thing is that the rest of the league has caught up to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Georgia was so far out in front of everyone in 21 and 22 that they had kids move on, and the rest. The big money has changed changed the complexion of college football, and the fact that all the money isn't just in the deep South anymore, where there's players. I think the biggest change with the NIL is it's allowed northern teams to recruit against the SEC.
Yeah.
Those upper Midwest schools that were always so academically dominant. The Michigans, the OSUs, the Notre Dames of the world, and would get 4- and 5-star recruits, but they couldn't always get the best 4- and 5-star recruits because the SEC had the money and the nice weather and the biggest, the best facilities and. Now that the money now that everybody can pay, and it's not all under the table, and there's no ethical qualms, and there's no chance, nobody's going to be, Michigan or Ohio State or Notre Dame, wants to pay somebody to come play, and they have the money, they can. And when the SEC was running roughshod over the country. It's because all the money was staying in, the SEC was the conference that was willing to look the other way on some of those potential violations of financial rules.
Yeah, it looks like Penn State is a 1.5 point underdog, and Texas is a 6-point underdog to Ohio State.
That's momentum.
On the Hard Rock, yeah. That's the Hard Rock. That's a different app than Alex has access to.
I mean, when I visited Mom in Florida, I was using that a little bit.
And
for better or for worse, I'm on FanDuel pretty often, a little bit, pretty often, a little bit.
The over-under.
None at all.
The over-under was asking.
NC Notre Dame game is 46 and a hook, and in the Ohio State Texas game, it's 53 and a hook. So that's what it is so far. So.
That's a lot of points, 6, but who's to say Ohio State doesn't beat it by 10 or 14? They just blew the doors. I mean, Ohio State's red hot right now. So I like them a lot more than I like the other matchup. I can definitively say right now, I think Ohio State's emerging into that part of the bracket. So I think they're championship bound, at least to the final game. But the other game, Penn State, they're very similar teams. Penn State and Notre Dame.
Very similar teams.
Yeah, they're both fun. They're blue collar. They don't have those ridiculous athletes at receiver. That's one similar. Right. Another similarity they have. They don't have a pro style receiver. It's just more linebackers, D linemen, tight ends, more old school.
Working day guys.
Yeah, it's more old school.
Lunchfield guys that guys that are going to go selling.
Yeah, more defense. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Guys that are going to be selling insurance,
Geico.
No, I think
They got some pros though. Come on, don't spoil them too bad.
I'm not. No, I'm not. There's nothing wrong with selling insurance.
No,
I'm
I
just
like
saying
it.
that they're not. They don't have a lot of. Their NFL talent is on the interior and in the trenches. That's what it's looking for.
Yeah.
If you look at that Notre Dame, I think Notre Dame is vulnerable on the outside, but I don't know if Penn State has the receiving core to get it done. Because if you look at the game tonight, that quarterback that had come in for Georgia, whose name is escaping me now, the backup kid,
Stockton.
He looked all right. Stockton, is that his name? Stockton? Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked confident. He looked confident. The problem was that he couldn't get. They had 4 or 5 big drops that were just crushing. They were just crushing. He was throwing. He was putting his ball. He put a good ball out there several times tonight. I think the problem is that when you have it was like what Dane Campbell was saying last week or in the post game press conference after they beat the Niners. He was talking about how the fact is that the number ones they get all the reps all year, and so even if you go to the backups for 1 week, they don't get the starter reps. The starters still get all those reps, and so unfortunately for say his name again.
Stockton, like the point guard, like John Stockton.
Yeah, thank you. Unfortunately for Stockton, he didn't get. He spent. This is the only week he's had to get those reps.
Yeah,
and he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that play clock in his brain yet to speed up his timing.
He doesn't have the timing and the chemistry with his teammates. And dude, Adam, imagine like getting your feet wet and getting used to the big show in the biggest game of all. There's no ramp up. There's no preseason. Like you said, if he's not getting snaps during the week, he's shell shocked. It's like traumatic. Like there's so much pressure caving in on you, and you're facing a heck of a defense too. He was just under the gun all day.
A very confident defense, a very confident head coach.
Yeah.
And so, blinking. My legs are cold.
He was outmatched, man. I mean, he just you're right. The drops doomed him, but he was kind of just like a C+ if you had to grade him, like decent.
I'd give him a solid. I thought, given the circumstance, given everything he had to overcome, some of the throws he made, and accounting for drops, I would have given him a B. I thought he played a B level game. I didn't think he didn't come out and throw 4 bad picks. He had some nice. He put out some nice balls out there. I think the other thing that really doomed Georgia was their inability to run the ball and take the pressure off of him early. Had Georgia been able to run the ball successfully early in the game, that would have really helped him to be able to settle in and make some and get some more confidence rhythm throws. Unfortunately, they got behind quickly in that second quarter and had to play from behind for the rest of the game. And when you're playing from behind, you have to lean on the pass game to try and catch back up because you need chunk plays. And if you don't have a running game that can get you 3, 5, 7 yards a pop, they can't consistently get you 3 or 4 yards a pop, that the linebackers back out, the safeties back out, if the D line and credits due Notre Dame's D line was handling the front 4 were handling the Georgia running game without too much difficulty. So they didn't have 100%. To bring up. They didn't have to walk the safeties up. They didn't have to put 8, 9 in the box. And when you don't have to bring up that extra defender in the box, and you can play quarters across the board, and you can isolate your 2 safeties up high, and let them just lurk and go to a spot, and you can have depth in your linebackers, and they don't have to play right up on the ball 98% because they're in second and long, they're third and long, and it's obvious passing downs. You can drop the linebackers. The linebackers can drop underneath, take away anything underneath, and then the safeties can kind of free float, and you can run man to zone.
Makes it a lot easier for the pass rush too. For the guys up front, if they know they have to pass, Georgia's just at a big disadvantage. Like you said, the whole game, it was like they were facing a massive deficit early on, and then they knew they didn't have their starting quarterback. So every first down for them was like a touch. It was hard to get 10 yards. Georgia was just snowballs.
And with between an inexperienced young quarterback, no running game, and drops, it's a recipe for defeat.
That's a bad mix.
I was going to say, then Notre Dame had a 98-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help. That doesn't help. Because Georgia's defense played pretty.
Yeah, they did.
Georgia's defense played admirably. You got to give Georgia's defense a lot of credit. They held Notre Dame to, you think that 16 points?
Yeah.
So, the defense only gave up 16 points.
23 total. They got another one. Yeah, 23-10. But yeah, no, anyone who knows football like you, Adam, like all of us here, like you can't just look at the scoreboard. So you're totally correct. They really shut them down.
There's a game within the game.
You'll see like a late touchdown sometimes, but if you're watching the game, you can see like they were just holding them in check. That I don't know. That's apparently Stockton, the quarterback, was higher ranked coming out of high school.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was never really in love with the guy Beck, with the starter. I thought just Georgia was kind of down this year either way.
Man, I wish we had jumped 11-2 playoff game down.
Yeah. Michigan's going to be back in there next year, dude. They'll be back.
No, I'm just saying. I'm not talking about Michigan. I'm just talking in general. A down year at Georgia is 11-2 in a playoff game. Jesus Christ.
Stockton went 20 for 32 for 234 yards and a touchdown. That's not a bad game at all.
That's pretty good.
It's not a bad game, and you got to factor in three or four drops in there too. So
I mean, and look, guys, at Riley Leonard, he went 15 for 24 for 90 yards and a touchdown. That's Notre Dame's quarterback.
There's right.
But you're a hockey guy. You know what they say. They don't ask you how, just how many.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then in hockey, there's been no Stanley Cup that's ever been won without what do they call those garbage goals.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
Has never been won without a garbage goal. They always always.
You gotta have those garbage time guys. Those garbage guys.
Yep.
The guys that get out down in front of the net and bang bodies and stick on the ice. I mean, what you say his numbers were? 15 for 23?
15 for 23 for 90 yards.
And a touchdown. But it doesn't matter. It's a three-phase, it's all three phases of the game. I mean,
you didn't have to do much. You just keep away, protect, move the chains, keep Georgia at bay. I mean, they were playing conservative 75% of the game. So Notre Dame didn't have to throw. Just keep the ball away from Georgia. Just stay in the lead. Stay in the lead. They can't score if they don't have the ball.
Yeah.
Keep the ball away from them.
Keep away.
If that game went another 15 minutes, if that game went another 10 or 15 minute quarter, I mean, Georgia was just dying to get the ball back.
And the thing, the thing is like as you get deeper into the game, as that time starts to bleed off, and you have to become more one-dimensional because you're playing from behind, and you're playing from two scores. It was when it was 20-10 with 3 or 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. It still felt like there was time. If Georgia could just find one play, one big play, and it didn't, or a sequence of good plays. It didn't have to necessarily be one big play, but a sequence of good plays. 5, 10, 15, a 5, 10, or 15-yard pass play, or a big, a 20-yard rush. Something to just get the juices going, get the blood flowing, get the adrenaline back up. it seemed like they were just one big play away from getting right back in this game. And it's that anaconda device, man. You just slowly crush them to death. You don't have to blow. You don't have to blow people out to beat them. You just stand on their neck the whole time, and you never let them get back up. Every time they get back up, you knock them back down. And I really think that's what Notre Dame did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tonight.
That's a chance for them to rely on the best part of their team, their defense. Yep. A lot of seniors, like defense wins. I don't know. I watch D so much, more so than offense at least. That's just me. So I love how it can take over a game, and that goes with anywhere, whether it's hockey or obviously football is paramount to have a good defense. The flashy, you don't see the Miami Dolphins playing in the Super Bowl when it's snowy. You see them getting their ass handed to them. Like defense wins, especially in these. I thought Notre Dame D was awesome, but I still think with like 15 more minutes, Georgia could have come back because it was like they were holding on for dear life just to get that win. I thought Notre Dame.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the other thing is like you only have. That's the thing that makes it when you're playing bend but don't break defense. Every second that comes off the clock is a win. And so if you're playing, if you're down to 12 minutes in the fourth quarter, it's 23-10. You got to get one stop and get your offense the ball back, and they can put together 2 or 3 first downs. Mm-hmm. It's really going to make it that much harder, even if you have to punt. Let's say, I'm not exactly sure how, because I was in between things, driving and whatever, so I got dinner tonight. But, if Georgia's offense quickly goes 3 and out after that field goal, which they did, they went quickly 3 and out, and Notre Dame got the ball back. You can quit. You can easily take 4 minutes off the clock on 3 first downs and punt the ball yourself, and pin Georgia deep, and make them have to drive 90, 95, 98 yards, which is going to take some time off the clock. And Georgia could never quite get one of those big explosive. They had one big explosive play, that 160-yard throw down the sideline that got called, that ended up which they ended up losing 15 yards on that because of the sideline interference thing.
Yep.
Go ahead, bud.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, man, here's where I think Georgia lost. I'm looking at the stats. Georgia was 2 for 12 on third down. That right there will kill you.
And I think they're
0 for 3 on fourth downs. Now, they outgained for the game, Notre Dame, but they had 2 turnovers and only had 62 rushing yards. So you guys said that the Notre Dame defensive line controlled the running game. So that's 62. Now, Travis Etienne, who was like Florida Gator last year and transferred to Georgia because Florida had such a bad year, and then the Gators had a better year this year and then went on to win a bowl game. But Georgia had 234 yards passing, 62 yards on the ground, but had 2 turnovers. That'll kill you. If you turn the ball over and you're not good on third down, that's a definite recipe for a loss.
And that's Notre Dame hit it. Yeah, Notre Dame got a couple crucial fourth downs. They stayed ballsy. They didn't get conservative. Like you can't stay ahead forever. You're not going to pull Dan Quinn and fumble away a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl, right? Like they didn't play too conservative because hey, even though they ran, they had to. Because if you throw an incomplete, you stop the clock. So Freeman would have get killed from a coaching perspective if you threw. They were going to run the ball. Everyone knew it. So like their defense wanted that. But then he was ballsy enough to still go for it on fourth. He went on fourth and short a couple times up 13 because they had to stay ahead and they didn't want to give the ball back. I thought it was good coaching for Notre Dame.
No, I agree.
And just like you said, Brad, like couple fourth downs, turnovers, that'll be the death knell of any team.
And I think their average third down was like 7 to 10 yards for Georgia.
So that's an average of medium to long range third downs. And those are hard to get. Even in the NFL level, that's hard to get. First down on third and 10s.
Especially with a young backup quarterback who doesn't have the experience with the offense.
Correct.
And I think the thing about the like I think it was I think it was Alex that said chemistry, team chemistry, team continuity. Knowing the protections, knowing the line protections, knowing the slides. Reading and reacting to what the defense is giving you pre-snap. Are they in man? Are they in zone? Is it quarters? Is it 3 deep? Is it is it quarters to the wide side, quarters to the near side? All those little things that the great quarterbacks have to know and do know. Those things you just can't learn them in a week or 2 weeks.
And try them out.
No, you can't.
On that stage, it's just. But then again, dude, Beck was never. I don't know. I didn't watch him too much this year, but you guys. I mean, it's not like they were missing. John Elway. The guy Beck was throwing a lot of turnovers. The starter was no world beater this year for Georgia.
But the thing about Beck was he's a 3-year starter.
Experience
will. Experience beats. The exuberance of youth versus the the knowledge of experience. And I think the biggest problem for Stockton was he got hit a couple of times early. He could never establish a rhythm. They couldn't run the ball. They were miserable on 3rd down, miserable on 4th down.
Yeah.
They didn't convert. They didn't generate any turnovers. So the defense didn't give them a short field to work with, where they could just bang a couple of underneath throws and be down into field goal range already.
Yeah.
Where they could come away with some points. And then in the other 2 games, the other semifinal games, Texas and Arizona, Texas has got to clean up the defense.
Let me pull up the stats real quick, guys, for that game.
Yeah.
So here's Texas, Arizona State.
Yeah.
Texas was 5 for 13 on 3rd down. Arizona State was 10 for 24, almost 50%.
Wow.
And 3 for 6 on 4th down. That was Arizona State. Texas was 2 for 2. 2 for 2 on 4th down.
And that'll do it.
Here's the funny thing, and again, this is where stats don't always equal wins. And I could tell you from covering USF this year, Arizona State had 510 total yards. Texas had 375, and they lost 510. So yes, Texas is going to have to clean it up. They each had a turnover in the game, but they allowed Arizona State 214 rushing yards. If they let Ohio State run for 214 yards, they can kiss that game goodbye, because Ohio State's going to know that, and they did that against Oregon. So they know what they're going to do against Texas. So they're going to have to straighten up if they're going to win.
Yeah, and Texas doesn't have the vaunted defense that Fighting Irish and Italy Lions do, not from my perspective. And then now they're facing a team not only with 5-star prospects and Jeremiah Smith and 4 or 5 guys who will be really good pros, Ohio State's offense in a year or 2.
Yeah.
Like, they're facing
those kids
6
aren't
incredible burners. I mean, the receivers. I think Ohio State could torch Texas. If they're clicking, nobody's going to really stop them. Which is so weird because the Wolverines, Adam, your team manhandled them. Like, Ohio State just Ohio State woke up at the really lucky, the perfect moment for them. If they can hold that momentum.
Ryan Day's a bitch. That's what it is.
Of course, unless they win it all.
But what it is that Ryan Day has a Michigan problem. Ryan Day thinks, this is what I think it was Sam Webb. Sam Webb was doing a post-game show after the Michigan-Ohio State game, and he was talking about Ryan Day. Ryan Day wanted to beat Michigan at their game. Ryan Day wanted to go. He wanted to play bully ball. He wanted to run the ball down Michigan's throat and beat Michigan at their own game. And from what, and we'll talk more about the Texas game and the OSU game here in a second. And what they did against Oregon and why it was so impressive was, in the Michigan game, Ryan Day in the first half, nothing worked for Ohio State. The only touchdown they scored, they got on a couple of ticky-tack pass interference calls that probably should have been OPI. And I think that put the fear of God in Ryan Day. The fact that his offense did dick all nothing for a quarter and a half, a quarter and three quarters of a quarter. Yeah, say that fucking fast.
Yeah.
Until the last 2 minutes when they had to get into hurry up mode and try to push the length of the field, and they finally got in the end zone. So I don't think Ryan Day has the confidence that his offense could really attack Michigan's offense. I think that's what or Michigan's defense.
Yeah.
And Michigan's offense was everyone knew what Michigan was going to do. Run left, run right, run up the middle. And that's it. That's what we're doing. Stop it. And Michigan's defense was able to create a couple turnovers, cause chaos. And you see them in the Oregon game, the Texas or the OSU Oregon game, Ohio State and Oregon. They didn't have to. They were able to just play loose, play fast. They weren't afraid of Oregon. They weren't afraid of being made a fool against Oregon. They didn't feel like they needed to play Oregon ball. They just played Ohio State ball. They were able to create opportunities in the pass game and keep those windows open and hit those medium passes, the 10 to 15 yard passes, which then opened up opportunities on the outside.
Yeah. That helped them a lot. Also, I just when the camera panned out to the field, I was like, oh man, it's a good way to unlock an offense. As talented Ohio State get their mojo back. It was like sunny and 75, perfect weather.
Yeah.
Those guys who run 4.3 40s, those wide receivers that'll be playing for the Cowboys or Giants or whoever, dude, when it's sunny out on TV, like that's high scoring. Oregon's an offensive team, not a great beat. So Ohio State, they didn't have to play in 30-degree weather, smashing into Wolverines all day on 32 and injuries and fights. That was just like a high scoring shootout against Oregon. That's a perfect condition for Ohio State to just light it up. So now they have all their mojo. They have all their mojo back, and there's only 2 games left.
Yeah,
it's it was a blessing for them.
To get
Great conditions to play and score a lot in that sunshine.
Well, Oregon brought a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah, they didn't open anything up. They had offense all year. It's still on the flight somewhere on the team bus or something. They didn't bring it to the field.
They forgot it. They left it in Eugene.
Everyone was scared of Oregon. I
you guys want to guess? You want guys going to guess how many rushing yards Oregon had in the game against Ohio State?
Less than 30.
60.
50.
How about negative 23?
Wow.
Negative
20. And Ohio State had 181. So Texas better get their run defense ready because 181 yards against that Oregon defense. Yeah.
Ohio State has 2 NFL caliber running backs, and then they got I can't say that name, but and Jeremiah Smith, who's that awesome freshman receiver. The best freshman wideout besides Ryan Williams in Bama's got to be. I mean, so Adam, you know them too well. Ohio State's always got those blue chippers at skill positions.
Yeah, of course.
They can score 50 points if they're clicking. So I don't know. Do you think Texas has a fight? Texas has a fight against them? I don't know.
Score early and often.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't play scared. Quinn Ewers has to have the game of his life. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Of course.
Quinn Ewers and that Texas. I think that if Texas wants to win this game, if Texas wants to compete in this game, they're gonna have to go out there and throw bombs. Yeah. They're just gonna have to let it all hang out, and let the rough side drag. Because I don't think that. I think that if they can get up early on Ohio State, and Ryan Day's butthole clenches, like it generally does when he gets in tight games,
if he
Texas can have a shot.
Yeah, if he gets nervous,
His sphincter tightens. I think Texas can give him a game. But if OU comes out and they just start going up and down the field, and if if they start to boat race Texas, I think it'll be over before half, like it was for Oregon.
Do you guys think that Arch Manning is going to play an X factor in the game?
No.
Nah.
No. Next year.
I don't. Arch Manning doesn't bring anything special to the table that Quinn Ewers doesn't.
Right.
The gimmicky thing of bringing him in off the bench is stupid. He doesn't have like 4.4 speed or 4.3 speed. He's not huge. He's not like 6'6", 235. So it's not like you can bring him in for like short yardage where he can bang, where he's going to get the brotherly shove. And I just think that Texas needs to stay traditional in their standard offense and look to go deep early and often, and get Ohio State's defense to start to run, because that's what Michigan did. What Michigan did was they forced the Ohio State defense to run, and be physical. And if you can make Ohio State be physical, if Texas has to go forward, they have to go forward on every play. They can't be doing sideline to sideline, left to right, because if you watch the Oregon game, Oregon was trying to get on the perimeter. Ohio State is so damn fast that if you try to string anything to the perimeter, anything to the wide side, if you're trying to come left to right across the formation, jet sweeps, jet sweeps, traps, counters, tosses, Ohio State is just so damn fast that they're very disciplined. They're very good eye discipline. So they don't flow with the motion. They don't go with the motion. And even if you do get them to go to motion, they're so fast on the backside that they can cut it off. They can change direction. They can come, and they're always coming upfield. They're always coming upfield, even if they're going left. Even if they're going left or right at the snap, they're coming upfield. They're not running laterally across the formation. They're running vertically into what you're trying to run, and that's what when you at the mesh point, Ohio State was getting off the Oregon blocks easily.
Yep.
Like with no issue. And when you don't put those Ohio State linebackers and those Ohio State defensive linemen are 2 yards in your backfield at the snap or at the handoff, there's nowhere for you to go. And that was Oregon's problem the whole night, is that Ohio State was living in their backfield.
And the running back went down. They were dead in the water, dead duck in the water.
As it were.
Bad joke. One of my specialties. They were kind of dead in the water regardless, but didn't help that their starting running back went out, I think, before the halftime. But I mean, they were just all that hype for all year. I picked Oregon, and I usually root for Ohio State. I thought Oregon for sure was going to win. It was like, quote unquote, their year, and they were done 15 minutes into the game. It was lights out.
Oh, easy, yeah.
They just rocked them. Unbelievable, man. It makes it more shocking how, not taking away anything from Michigan, but Adam, you'd be the first to admit this wasn't quote unquote Michigan's year. They had lost so much, including their coach, but so much to graduation. And it's still an awesome, proud bunch, but like, who saw them going in with that roster this year? And Ohio State, they manhandled Ohio State. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, we're here, and like Ohio State's lighting up Oregon. It was such a crazy turnaround.
And I think, well, again, like I said, Ryan is Michigan's bitch. He is so determined.
Yeah. He's
so determined to be after 21. Well, in 19, when they played track meet ball, basketball, as Sam Webb likes to say, shout out Sam Webb again, basketball and grass. They
up and down.
And that sideline to sideline offense, using the whole field, underneath stuff, deep stuff, and they boat raced Michigan in 2019. Absolutely just blew the doors off of us in the second half. And then in 2020, with COVID and COVID restrictions and not being able to play that game, and in the spring game, in the Big Ten media days in 21, and Ryan Day's like, we're gonna beat them by 100. They better, the Big Ten better institute a mercy rule. And we went down in my boss at the time, huge OSU fan, huge. He always wore brown. If it was college, if it was on Wednesday he'd wear an OSU hat. On Thursday he was wearing a Browns hat, or vice versa. Whichever week to week he'd be either OSU or Browns. He grew up in Cleveland, big OSU fan, and everything, and worked in Marion in Ohio at Whirlpool, and all of that. And so when 21 came around, I watched the Ohio State Michigan State game, and I was like, if Michigan can keep everything in front of them and they don't let those Ohio State receivers get over the top, and they make the sure tackle, we got a shot in this game.
Yeah.
And if we can run the ball and be efficient passing, it doesn't have to be 30 for 40 with 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. Just give me 18 for 25, 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, and just confident quarterback play, extending drives, picking up third downs, converting on third down, and we can run the ball and set ourselves up into third and manageable. And then Hassan Haskins has 5 rushing touchdowns against Ohio State, and we just absolutely bully the piss out of them. And there was a moment in that 21 game where the Michigan receiver Roman Wilson and one of the Ohio State defensive backs got into it a little bit. There's some pushing and shoving, and Michigan's O-line was the first ones there. For the first time in a decade, Michigan was taking the fight to Ohio State. Michigan was crashing down, getting stops, making life miserable for Ohio State. And after the game and in the post-game press conference, Jim Harbaugh made the infamous "born on third base" comments. And ever since that game, in the Michigan-Ohio State game, Ryan Day has been determined to run the ball and play Michigan's style of offense. Run the ball, control the clock. And when you get into third and longs against, especially the last couple of years against the Michigan front four, they're just gonna, whether it was Hutchinson or Grant and Graham or Stewart last year in 23 when we went on to win the title. When Michigan can pin over the last 3 or 4 years, when Michigan pinned their ears back and went after the quarterback and could get after the quarterback and could make his life a living hell, it was easy for our guys on the outside, with Will Johnson and Quentin. I forget his last name now, but the back seven were able to play out in an island because the front four were getting pressure and speeding up the quarterback. And they had tight coverage. Even it took some Herculean efforts from the receivers across college football to make catches against that secondary. Mm-hmm. And so when now flash forward to yesterday's Ohio State game. Ohio State had nothing to prove. They didn't have to prove they were tough. They didn't have to prove that they were supermen, that they could play a 4-quarter football game. All they had to do was just go out there and play Ohio State football, and they won handily.
Yeah, they're back. That's for sure. It's different when they're not worried about Michigan. It's less mental. It's just go out and play. Yeah. And they're typically faster and stronger than 80 or 90. In most Saturdays, 99% of the players they play against. So they can run and hit as good as anyone, and they get drafted more than anyone on the NFL rosters, the Buckeyes. They really do. So it's like they're always going to have that talent, and now they're really showing out at the right time. I don't see Texas 20 hours. I mean, I don't know. They don't have a Bijan Robinson or some of these guys, Xavier Worthy. I don't think this is the best Texas team. Kind of like Georgia. I thought they were kind of falling a little bit back down. Yeah. And now Ohio State's just surging way up the charts. I mean, that's to me, that's like a Ohio State could be like 40-30 or high scoring. And then I think Penn State and Notre Dame, total opposite, 2 defensive teams. So it's kind of a cool comparison.
Juxtaposition, yeah.
Yeah,
like
because Texas can score some points, but I don't see them staying within a touchdown at Ohio State.
I think if they can if they can generate an early turnover and get up to scores on Ohio State and play a score ahead, I think the recipe for Texas to win is to I think, and it's kind of that kind of cliche coaches speak, if you will, but generate a couple of turnovers, get ahead early, and force Ohio State to play from behind. Yes. And force Ryan Day to make coaching decisions.
Yeah, that's a weakness.
Because when Ryan Day has to make a tough decision as a head coach, going for it, when Ryan Day has to coach, Ryan Day makes mistakes. And if Texas can force Ryan Day to coach, then I think Texas has a chance to at least keep the game competitive.
It's pretty damning from on the coach when Ohio State wins in spite of him, not because of him.
Yeah,
the lefty coaches, it's like watching Sirianni coach the Eagles. Like, just stay out of the way, let the players handle it. Like, the less coaching involved, the more successful the program is. It's sad but true. It's amazing you can get to that height of coaching and still, like, just stay out of the way, dude. We got it from here.
Yeah,
they'll win in spite of him.
And despite of him, win despite him.
You're right. Like, the less crucial decisions Ryan Day has to make, the better off they're going to be.
That's what I've seen over the last 3 or 4 years.
Mental meltdowns. Doesn't make savvy calls.
Look at the Georgia game from a couple of years ago. When he shut it down, it was 3rd and 6, and I think they had a timeout left, and he shut it down, and they attempted a 49 or 51-yard field goal and missed it because Ryan Day coach is scared.
Yeah. What do you guys all predict? I predict high scoring, Ohio State win, and then I got I'm going to go with. See, it would be kind of fun for the Ohio State Penn State faction because those rivalry is good.
Pretty high scoring.
I think it's going to be. I'm going to Ohio State, Notre Dame. Those are my picks.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Who wants to go first?
I'm going to go Penn State. I'm going to go Penn State, Ohio State.
Okay.
I'm taking Penn State in this game over Ohio State.
I'm going to go Texas, Notre Dame.
Okay. You'd be a contrarian, huh?
Yeah, I think I'm going to
go Texas. Remember, I'm an SEC guy, and I got the only SEC, so I got to go with the home conference. But in all reality, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if it's not Ohio State, Penn State, and it's a Big Ten champion. I mean, we had a Big Ten champion last year, so there you go. So, so it's and you guys were just talking about Michigan. I think they had a Michigan game in the Royal Quest Bowl when they beat Alabama. That slowed that offense down. They kept Monroe in front of them, everything in front of them, and when they had to make plays, that defense made plays. End of the game, they were able to hold Alabama, and then now Monroe, I guess, is going to the pros. But Michigan did their job. Michigan did against Ohio State. They held everything in front of them, didn't let the big top plays, and they shut down Ohio State, and they shut down Alabama, which, again, if you look at those two teams, pretty damn good teams that they were able to beat at the end of the season. And Coach Moore was able to go, hey, we lost Harbaugh. We lost a bunch of our guys to the pros. Still got 7 wins.
Yeah.
That can't be a bad season for him.
Greatest 8-5 season of all time.
Exactly.
Yes.
There you go. Yep. There you go.
And just to touch on my Wolverines, the team that I follow the closest, the biggest improvement of the year was Wink Martindale. Wink Martindale, when he simplified his defense and he didn't try to force these college kids to play NFL defenses, he got it simplified, He got it more streamlined. He got it more manageable. And from the second half of the Oregon game on, they play lights out defense. And then the lack of a quarterback did hurt, of course. Didn't say it didn't, but overall, we maintained our identity. We're still a run first team, power football. We're gonna choke you out, and we're very much a grappler.
Yes.
We're not gonna shock you with a 30 for 40, 350, 4-touchdown offensive explosion. We're gonna get to, if we can get to 20, we're gonna win 90% of our games because you just can't score on us. It's a race to 20. First team to 20 wins.
Right.
And I think going forward, especially one of the nice things about the bowl game against Alabama is that Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham, Will Johnson, none of those guys played.
Yeah.
Colston Loveland didn't play. There's a couple other
3
guys.
first-round picks. Mason Graham, top 5 pick, D tackle. They're huge losses with the.
Oh,
that was a huge bowl game win for them, I thought.
Yeah.
And Milroe's not ready. Not ready to.
No,
I don't know what the heck. He's ready to sell insurance. That's one guy ready to sell Geico. Milroe. I mean, Milroe has descended every time he's putting cleats on him over the last year. He's regressed, and now he's. Oh, I'm ready to go to the pros. No, you're not.
No. He needs. What would
to be a 6th-round pick or to be a walk-on or?
He would benefit from. What he would benefit from is transferring.
Yeah, another year.
He should.
Can't go to the NFL. That was my point. Yeah, dude.
If he has another year of eligibility, because I don't know if he was. I don't know. He was a junior this year, so he has one more year of eligibility left, right?
I think so. Yeah, he's definitely under. Yeah, I think he had another year at least.
He should have transferred. He should have transferred out. Gone to.
Yes.
You know what he would have benefited from is transferring to UNC.
That's an idea. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Go hook up with Bill Belichick. Learn how to be a pro style quarterback, and take his lumps. Check his ego at the door, and
Pretty hard.
And humble himself, and humble his attitude, and really learn the position of quarterback. Learn how to play quarterback.
He doesn't run even like an Anthony Richardson. Right? I mean, that pick smelled from a mile away, and he wasn't ready for maybe Madden on Xbox to play NFL defenses. Anthony Richardson was just such a top 5 pick. He was throwing interceptions, getting booed as a Gator, and then he's playing for the Colts. And Milroe, the thing is, he doesn't really run that much. No, I don't know how his game translates to the pros, and after his really poor performances all year, he's going to raise his head and say, okay, guys, I'm out. I'm going to go to the pros. Well, that's the worst time to do it. He's got to reprove himself. Right. The Carolina idea, Adam, is brilliant. Learn under Belichick. Learn how to be a quarterback, not an athlete.
Well, and maybe it is the right time for him to come out.
I don't know, man.
He's going to learn. Hold on. Well, hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
He gets to go somewhere and be a backup. He doesn't have to. His draft stock's dropped. He's not a top 5 pick. He's not a top 10 pick. Maybe he ends up in Minnesota, and he can spend a couple of years behind McCarthy, and learn that offense, or maybe he ends up in Detroit or Kansas City. He could be a late 4th-round pick in Kansas City, or somewhere that's got an aging veteran that he can sit behind for 2 or 3 years and really learn the position of quarterback without having to take any serious snaps. Because if he goes to somewhere like Cleveland, Cleveland, maybe Buffalo. Cleveland is an interesting thought because they're gonna bring Watson back next year. Or maybe he can learn how not. You go to Cleveland and learn everything not to do.
Not to play,
from Watson. Maybe the Jets. He could end up in New York with the Jets,
Oh,
and they
boy.
can hang on. If they can get Rodgers to come back for one more year.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do it.
I like the idea of him learning under someone, but he left so much to be desired. He left such a bad taste.
Well,
How can they leave Bama like that? It's just weird of him to commit to leave. He's just not ready.
What I'm thinking is that now might be the right, because if he go, let's say he goes to UNC, and let's say they have a huge improvement. Let's say he's a Heisman finalist. Let's say he's let's say he's 225 for 330 with 4,200 yards and 30 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. And now all of a sudden he's a top 5 draft pick, and he gets stuck on some shitty team like Cleveland or Arizona or Las Vegas, and one of these crap teams, and now he's going to have to be a day one starter. He's not going to get a chance to learn the NFL game. Now, if he comes out this year, with his draft stock being as low as it is, he goes in the 4th or 5th round and he gets in behind somebody that, he can learn from. He can learn the offensive system. He ends up in in Kansas City or Buffalo or Cincinnati. Some of these places that have established veteran quarterbacks that aren't going anywhere for a while. He can just spend 2 or 3 years as a backup, wear the ball cap backwards, and learn the game.
Yeah. He's also losing a lot of money doing this too. I don't think he can't be a first round pick right now, would he?
No, I don't see him as a first. Unless you have somebody that's looking to the future, looking for the long-term future. Maybe Tampa Bay could take a flyer on it at the end of the first round with Baker, starting, they just re-signed him to a 3-year deal. They can get, somebody in like Milroe, let him learn the offense. And then if they wanted to, and then because Baker will be 34, 35 when that contract comes up again. And they may want to, they may decide to move on, let him, explore his options. And then they have the heir apparent already in the building. They can sign him to a 4-year rookie deal with a 5th-year option at, $2 million a year. And he can sit and learn.
For 3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
I mean, Tampa, they're not drafting Milroe in the first round to sit for 4 years. Baker's lighting it up.
Well,
maybe I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying,
he lost so much. I think. No, I hear what you're saying, Adam. It's just I'm not disagreeing with you as much as I am. I'm shocked at Milroe. He fell so far, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm ready for the pros." Dude, you're not.
Sure,
that's my bottom line. He looks so bad. They just lost to Illinois. I'm ready for the pros. No, you're not ready for the pros. But I guess if he sits for a couple of years, but his goal should be he just led Alabama for 3 years, and now he's just leaving on a real crappy, crummy note. It's kind of weird of him, I thought.
And maybe he's just tired of the pressure.
That might be it, man, because he got booed a lot this year.
And if he goes, and if he transfers somewhere else for one more year, and think about the other things that have, that's 13, that's potentially, it's at least 12 more games he's going to have to play at college. And if something, God forbid, the worst were to happen, and he would have some terrible debilitating injury, it could cost him even, you're saying he's going to lose a lot of money. Well, it could cost him all his money. So you come out now, you get what you can while you can, and have a 10-year backup career, learn everything you can, and get into coaching when you're 30. I think long term, there's got to be a couple of teams out there that have aging veteran quarterbacks that are looking for a long-term solution later in the draft, and that might be interested in taking a look at him. Plus, you have the combine. He'll probably get invited to the Senior Bowl. He'll probably go to he'll definitely have pro day at Alabama. Go to the combine, do all his interviews, and you can improve your draft stock even without playing a game by just saying and doing all the right things in the run up to the draft.
Someone will take a flyer on him. The way he's going out, it's just I'm not a fan. Like it feels like he kind of just gave up, and I don't know, he regressed a lot. I kept hearing a lot of hype. This was 3 years ago when I didn't watch as much. Now I'm tons of college football the last 2 years, thanks to you guys. One of the reasons, but like, I haven't really seen a quarterback with that much hype really, really decline before and then leave early. That's why I was just kind of stunned by it. Like it's his chance to show that he's better than this, and he's just leaving town. He's going to the pros, and he's not ready for another one. And he's got to like learn the quarterback. Maybe sitting down for a couple of years, like you said, could be the best way for him to learn. Because I mean, he
maybe he doesn't
success. I mean, why couldn't it with the Jets? I mean, really?
No, that's the Jets.
Can anybody? I guess we can answer that though. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't. It's 4 letters. JETS.
Just end the season.
I was thinking about saying something else, but okay.
JETS. Over before it starts. Time honored tradition.
Yeah.
You know,
and so,
no more playoff. And I don't know who's. You know, I don't know who's in his ear. I don't know who's in his corner. I don't know how his family feels about it. I don't know where he is mentally. You know, he may just be done with college football. He may be tired of college football. They want, you know, you only get so many opportunities to play at the highest level of college football. And you know, if he just feels like he can't, you know, he's been scuffling since the Michigan game.
Yeah.
He struggled all year. He just was never in sync. He may hate Caleb DeVore, too.
You're right. There's other things that might be going on. He might just be done with it.
Yeah, and
a lot of pressure too, like you said. And that Alabama, those boosters, they seem like they'll throw someone off a bridge if they fumble a ball. Like older Bama got like boosters. That's just any way you look at it. I don't care how well you're built and how like tough a kid you are mentally. That's a ton of pressure to go to Tuscaloosa and perform. And you know, if you lose, it's the end of the world. Or if you lose, and then you're the quarterback, that amplifies the pressure times 100 of any other position. That's a lot of weight on any young kid's shoulders.
And the other thing is that anywhere he goes, that pressure, that school is expect. You know, if let's say
Bama,
let's say he did go to UNC. Let's say he transfers out to UNC, and now all of a sudden they go from being a 6-6 team, and with no expectation, you know, a good season, 6-6 and a bowl win. Now all of a sudden they go from 6-6 and a bowl win to, if we don't win 9 games, if we don't win 10 games and make the playoffs, it's a shit year.
Yeah.
And that pressure's right back on him, you know?
Yeah. He's in a tough spot. He looks like a nice guy too.
Right. It's like, you know, if you know, Brad's a writer, right? You know, and I was just thinking about that. You know, being a writer, you know, it's like writing for your, you know, if you have a couple of bad articles for your college newspaper and everybody's booing you as you walk through the halls and nobody wants to talk to you, nobody wants to be your friend, and you get a 300-word column in the New York Times for $50 a week.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to read it. Nobody's going to care. You can disappear into anonymity and rebuild your career. And you know, and then everybody, you know, and then you get better, you know, you've got professional editors, professional, you know, it's, you know, professional football at the end of the day is professional football. You know, they don't call it professional football for nothing.
Nope.
Right. And so when you go, you know, and, you know, if he's academically, you know, if he's got his degree in whatever he went to school for, business management, sports medicine, I don't know what he was majoring in, but if he's already got his degree and there's nothing left to do for him at school, why not just go to the pros? Even if you're only going to be a 3rd or 4th or a 5th round pick, you know, all that pressure comes off.
That's just contract wise. He's losing. He's literally losing millions unless he's still a first round pick. I hope he turns it around. I saw that train wreck with Anthony Richardson might not start again. From what I saw, he wasn't ready.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking.
Milroe needs another year, but maybe he's just scared to perform on the college stage again. He's got Tuscaloosa, the starting quarterback, and he's like, "I'm good, guys. You're not ready, dude, but yeah, see you later." I mean,
and maybe, he's looking at all these quarterbacks that have come out over the last, 20 years, who went out as top 5, top 10 picks, and have just gotten killed. Look at, poor Caleb Williams getting booed off the field in Chicago as the number 1 overall pick, and he had them 4-2, and then the wheels fell off.
Yeah,
and they've lost 10 in a row to fall to 4-12, and maybe he's looking at it for his long-term health. He comes out now, he gets drafted later. Yeah, it might cost him short-term money, but it's not like he's not going to make $35,000 a year as a backup NFL quarterback. He's not going to starve.
Yeah.
And he gets a chance to disappear for a couple of years, find himself, play some football. He'll get to play in the preseason, and maybe that next level is the right level. Maybe he gets into the NFL and he learns what he needs to do, and he doesn't have to be a hero every week. He doesn't have that pressure. Losing, the pressure in the NFL to win is different than the pressure in college football, especially at Alabama. The pressure to win at Alabama is
second to none.
Undeniable.
It has to be. Every waitress and grandmother knows how many rushing yards you had last Saturday if you're a player. And you go into their diner. I mean, everyone breathes and eats. Every grandma and every grandkid has Bama jersey, like Bama Crimson in their house, So it's unbelievable pressure. So I don't know from that perspective. Maybe he was just done with it. Maybe burned out.
And if you go 9-3 in college football, you get a crummy bowl game that you get a consolation bowl game.
Yeah.
And in a game that means nothing, to fall into 9-4.
Yep.
Which is 9-4, 9 + 13. And if you lose 3 games in the NFL, you're probably either a 1 or a 2 seed.
Exactly.
Yep.
And it takes so much less. The pressure, there's only playoff pressure. You face your rivals twice a year. So if you lose the first one, you get a chance to beat them again. If Alabama loses to Tennessee or Ole Miss or Florida or Georgia, that haunts you for the rest of your life in Tuscaloosa.
Yes.
And in the NFL, if you lose to for reference, Detroit, if we lost to Green Bay or Chicago or Minnesota, we got another chance to beat them. And so when it comes to pressure, there are only a handful of games every year in the regular season that have that same game day pressure that like every game in college football does, because the rivalries are so much bigger in college football, because you only see them once a year.
Yeah.
And every other year you get them at home, and so it does matter, and those games do count. Every game counts, because because Alabama was 2 plays away from being a playoff team against Vanderbilt. If they just come out and handle business against Vanderbilt, they're probably a playoff team. But because they'd be 10-2, they probably would have gone to the SEC championship game. Could have been 11-2, and now, but because they lost to Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and Oklahoma, they get the ReliaQuest Bowl against a bad Michigan team, and then they get beat by a bad Michigan team. And at a certain point, you can only you have to decide if you don't feel like you can go and conquer the mountain.
Yeah.
As a college quarterback, why not come out? Getting drafted into the NFL is a huge honor. And it really does matter. And so even if you're a third or a fourth round pick, you'll make enough money to live comfortably for the next 20 or 30 years, no problem. And if you invest properly and you manage your money right, you'll never want for anything. And so
it's a safe way for him. It's the easy. I don't know. I've just never seen a quarterback with the eligibility who just like absolutely fell on his face. Go, you know what? I'm going to the pros, man. Like, dude, you have another year. I don't know. Maybe he knows Alabama just not recruiting like they should be, but I would say I would agree with your point of the suggestion of why not go play for Belichick? I don't know. Real time action in the college game is going to develop more than I think just sitting around and the scout team. What, a couple looks a week, in a bubble and sweatpants. I don't know how much he's going to develop. If he develops another year, though, like Carolina would be awesome. I'm surprised that would be perfect because he has more eligibility. I'm eager to see who Belichick gets because whoever he can get most anyone he wants probably with his recruiting.
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know. I agree with your side too, Adam. Maybe it was just too much pressure for Milroe. It seemed like he was just not having a lot of fun.
Yeah, he didn't look like he was having fun.
Yeah, you have to play perfectly, and then he's just like,
you really do.
The boo birds, and I mean, it just kind of came to a really crappy ending, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, and I think that and the thing about it is that you have another year of eligibility and how much can you improve your draft stock over this from year to year, and if you play like that again next year, your draft stock isn't going to improve any. So why risk getting you can talk about it, go back and forth on this all night long, but if you're looking at yourself
being saying why risk going lower? I mean, he should want to prove that he's the man and go.
No. What I'm saying is why risk getting hurt?
Oh, we're getting hurt. Yeah.
Why? If he's predicted, he's got people. I'm sure they've looked at his tape. They've looked at everything that his body of work, and he's a Division I college athlete. If he's half as smart as I think he is, he's got people in his corner that are talking to him about this kind of stuff, looking at his numbers, looking at his play style, looking at the teams the NFL teams that might be interested in him, and all the other, he's still he'll probably get a Senior Bowl invite. He'll have a pro day. He'll have a combine. He'll have all of his interviews that he does with the teams. And if they say, well, what's the difference between a second round pick and a fourth round pick? $200,000. Is $200,000 really worth a career-ending injury? Whereas you can come out now, it might take you 5 years to earn that $2 million, that $200,000 extra, but he could play him, he could come out, sit behind somebody for a couple of years. Like, look at Dak Prescott in Dallas.
Yeah.
He comes out, sits behind Tony Romo for a couple of years. Romo gets hurt. He gets his opportunity. He never turns the reins back over. So I think those are things those are factors that all play in. And then you said that running back at Oregon got hurt last night, right?
Yeah.
And even he doesn't have to get hurt necessarily. But he could go to UNC, and they could have brought in they recruited these 4 and 5 star linemen, and and transfers, and he could have 2 5-star recruit receivers, and next thing you know, it's a walking mash unit, and his offensive line is 3 guys named Bubba.
I hate those walking mash units.
And he might not get hurt, but he gets his ass beat, and they go 5 and 7, and his draft stock doesn't improve any, and he's still a 4th round pick next year.
Yep.
So why waste a year of your life getting hit when you can go sit on the bench and be an NFL star? I don't know. And especially if you're not married and you're a backup NFL quarterback, you're gonna get all the strains you want.
Right.
You've
been on campus too. Alabama, I'm sure the ladies there are treating him well. But no, I get your point. Either way, he's well taken care of wherever he goes.
And my thing is like there's if you go back up somewhere, say you end up in Kansas City, you get back up there for a couple of years, you learn from Patrick Mahomes, you learn the NFL game, and in a couple of years, you're up. Let's say you get a 3-year contract in Kansas City, and 3 years from now, that coach in Kansas City, the offensive coordinator in Kansas City, gets a head coaching job, and your contract's up, and let's say he ends up in Vegas, and you can sign with the Raiders and start, and you're not starting day one. You've had 3 years. You've gotten a couple of games. You've gotten into a couple of games. You've played some pro ball now, and you haven't taken the hits like you would have taken had you stayed and ended up on some shitty team where you're going to get your brains beat in.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how his career unfolds once he gets there. Gotta be the right spot.
And he may end up going undrafted, and he may end up in the XFL.
That would be absolutely brutal.
That's
now we're really like. Hopefully it works out for him. He was like on the cover of magazines, and now he's just taking off after a really bad season. So hopefully it turns it around.
Yeah, no,
I'm interested to see where Jabbar. Do they have another younger quarterback already, Bama? Like that's ready to come in?
Yeah. The Bama faithful want this other kid that they have on the roster.
Wow. Oh, he's already there? So he's been like a freshman or a sophomore?
Thompson or something. Wow. I think he's a sophomore. Yeah. I think this was his freshman year.
Man,
he's either a sophomore or a junior.
What was it, 2 years ago or last year? That amazing his signature play with Saban where it was a 4th and 20, right? It was last year? The Miller play. That's what I remember.
4th and 31 against Auburn.
That's insane.
Yeah.
To get that mojo back.
Well, and again, I think, if I never played any level of college football, let alone the highest level as a winningest program in the last 2 decades. I don't have any idea what that's like Monday through Friday, let alone on Saturday.
Right.
Especially with Kalen DeBoer. And that's the other thing is Kalen DeBoer may suck as a head coach. He may just suck as a person. And he and for a lot of guys, when you especially if you've completed your academics, you've studied, you've got your degree in your hand, and some guys want one more year, some guys just want to come out, go do other things. Especially if thinking about it, if you have to come back for a 5th year, it means you have to take another full class load of doing all your schoolwork and being in class all day and all that, and it's like, screw this, I'm not going to math class at 8 a.m.
Yes, that isn't going to help.
He's out for the math class, that's for sure.
I'm not taking another year of statistics just to play football.
Yeah.
And if he's, especially if he's academically finished, and all he's got, and so it would be, the only thing would be working towards like a master's or something like that for whatever his whatever he might have gone to school for. I can actually look that up. It's JALEN.
I got to see him play twice against USF here at Raymond James, and then on the road this year when they the final score with Bama USF, especially the game this year, we were very, very close there. And with 5:15 left is when they blew it wide open. But, that's a different story. But I got to see him play twice. I think he was a senior this year. I think he was the backup to Bryce Young as a freshman. He started in his sophomore, junior, and senior year, but he may have another year of eligibility. I don't know if he was redshirted immediately or anything like that.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they just announced he's declared. So if he didn't have any eligibility, he wouldn't have to declare. He'd just be in. So he's forfeiting whatever eligibility he has. He's still got time on campus if he wants.
Well, so I just looked it up
in that USF game. Did you think like, wow, this guy's a pro? Or I don't know if I saw enough where.
Well, the game here, they started somebody else, and he came in and he won the game. They came in and Mother Nature ruined that because we had the momentum, and so we got a 2-hour rain delay, and then that got messed up, and that's why I think Alabama kind of struggled on Wednesday, on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, because it rained in Tampa during the game, and Michigan was ready to play. They took advantage of that early on. But yeah, I mean, he's not Bryce Young. He wasn't going to blow the train off the tracks or anything like that. He's not that type of quarterback. Is he a pro? Not really. He's going to have to make some major adjustments moving forward. So yeah, no, I don't think is he ready? I don't think so, but I guess he thinks he is. So we'll see, what happens. But again, like Adam said, maybe he hired an agent and they said, well, no, let's go now. Because if you have another bad season, your draft stock's going to go down even more after the 25 season. So yeah.
Yeah, there might be people like Adam said. There's usually a camp of people, even from agents, marketing, for NIL, for commercials, for Xbox, there's a million different avenues of money. So he's got a team for sure. Maybe, yeah, like Adam said, maybe there's people in his ear already saying, dude, it's not looking any sunnier here. Let's hit the road and collect our next money from the NFL.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't been a pretty picture for him. And then he's leaving before he gets a chance, without getting a chance to kind of make it right.
And they were giving him shit about filming an NIL video before the game.
Wow.
On New Year's Eve. I've heard that on the radio this morning.
Yeah, I saw
the people maybe
were giving him shit about that. I'm like, okay, he's making money. It didn't hurt him. And yeah, they lost the game. But you know what? Again, at the end of the day, did they lose to a crappy Michigan team? Yes, but they were the better team. Michigan was the better football team, 2 days ago than Alabama was.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it is, So,
and that's how the cookie crumbles. And
correct.
So I did look it up. I did look it up. He wasn't redshirt junior. He was a redshirt junior this year. So he did technically have one more year of eligibility left. But he's already graduated. He graduated in December of 23.
Okay.
So he didn't have to come back to, it wasn't like he needed to come back to school to finish a degree or anything. This year was all about working towards his master's in business management. So he had a 3.52 GPA. So he's a smart cookie. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, I just don't see him, even if he had to come back to Alabama for one more, what's one more year? I don't think Alabama's title contenders next year. I don't see them as, I see them as probably the third or fourth best team in the SEC.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Because I think Tennessee.
And I just want to say, Adam, to piggyback on your point before, you said they have a guy that they really like on campus already. He might have already gotten word or gotten wind from the coaching staff or from the front, like the people on campus, that his time as a starter is done.
Yeah.
So he kind of leaves like this. Or he could have sat around all fall next year and been benched, and then his stock would have totally plummeted 10 times worse. So he might have been out of a job in Bama.
Yeah, he could have been told. He could have been told that he was competing for the starting job next year.
Yeah. You're an open competition. Like the writing's on the wall.
Yeah. And the smart ass
he didn't get the job done. If they have
No,
another guy there that's already getting rumored to be legit, he's going to be legit.
Yeah.
He's probably some superstar recruit. And
Yeah.
if I were DeBoer or whatever, if we were one of the Bama coaches, I wouldn't want Milroe back to run the show next year. I mean, I'd want a new start too. Maybe it's better for everyone.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Maybe you're kind of cold. Maybe you kind of realize, wow, I don't no sure thing. I might not be the starter next year.
Why sit around and be backup in Alabama?
Yeah, further hurt his stock.
When you can be in the NFL learning the NFL game.
Yeah.
Yep. But I think everyone's right. There's so many different intangibles, so many people in these guys' ears, and so many people affecting their stock making process, that their decision making process.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll figure it out one day what really prompted him. He might say in an interview coming up. Who knows? Maybe he was just ready, or something happened. Who knows?
And my thinking is that Alabama doesn't look title ready. Kellen DeBoer may not have a good relationship with Kellen DeBoer.
Mm-hmm.
You got this other kid waiting in the wings, and right now he's projected at 32. So in the day one, beginning of day two, it's still a top 50 pick. He's gonna make decent money. He's probably getting up on some good team with a confident starter that he's going to be able to sit behind and learn from. And that is so underrated, to have a competent quarterback you can sit behind and learn from, who's going to help you learn the game. You can just shadow him and learn how he preps for games, learn what he does to get ready Monday through Friday, and just get indoctrinated into the NFL culture, because the league is so much. The thing about college football is every game is magnified.
Yes.
Because there's only 12 teams that make the playoffs, and it's not based on record. It's not just the 12 winningest teams each year that make the playoffs. Unlike in the NFL, where the 14 winningest teams make the playoffs.
Right, which makes sense.
And so I think this year, and I think going forward for Jalen Milroe, especially after the bowl game and the misery that, and it was very obvious after the game that he just didn't have fun. He didn't play great. It wasn't like he was 22 for 27 with 338 yards and 3 touchdowns in a nail-biting loss in the championship game like last year, in the Rose Bowl against Michigan, where it fires you up to come back for one more. And if you think if you're going to come back for 1 year for let's say $300,000 and get hit 40 times over the course of 12 weeks, and maybe go 9-3 again and make another shitty bowl game, where you go out and you have to, where now you're just gonna sit out that shitty bowl game and go in the direct to 26, and maybe there's a team that he's put out feelers to the league, hey, who's interested, and there's I'm not sure exactly where he's from,
It looks like, guys, that Alabama has 3 quarterbacks waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
You have Ty Simpson, Austin Mack,
Keelan
Russell, and Russell seems to be the one who is the one that they're looking at. He is a 5-star quarterback and the number 2 prospect in the entire 2025 recruiting class.
There's no way Milroe would have started next year.
You're right there.
After he would have been. This new guy would have started. I think Milroe knew his time was up as a starter, so they're helping him out. I mean, he's quietly saving face and saving his reputation by declaring for the pros.
Yeah.
So it's better than waiting next year. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe I think it sounds like maybe he's told, or he can just sense this new kid is going to take my job. I'm just going to hit the road. Otherwise, it'd be really weird. That's why I was confused. If they got a blue chip ready to take his job, he knows it. He's hitting the road.
And if you look, he's from Texas.
Yeah.
And
Cowboys maybe.
And the Cowboys may be interested in him.
Yeah.
Because and Dak Prescott's, how old is Dak?
Early 30s, 31 maybe. Lou, how old is Prescott?
I don't think he's that old.
No, I think he's only 28.
He's like 29, 30.
I think he's still 28.
I think he is 31. He's 31.
31. Borderline.
He's a year younger than me.
He's borderline.
He'll be 30. He'll be 32 going into this next season. So
Jerry Jones borderline nuts though. So who knows? He might very well end up on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
That's a team that can take him. I can envision him being a Cowboy. Whether that's good or bad, you do the math.
Yeah.
But he makes sense as a Cowboy in that world. But I mean, he showed didn't show too much in Tuscaloosa for me.
And he may just, it may be that he ends up thriving in the NFL because the game's different, And I don't know. I kind of feel like you're, if you're a beat writer at a local paper and you've had a couple of articles that haven't gone so well over with the townsfolk, and the big shitty paper comes along and offers you a job, you don't turn it down. And
no.
And I kind of feel like he's been much maligned at Alabama. He's not, especially with Nick Saban gone, and with all the pressure that was on him this year and everything that he had to deal with going through this year.
Yep.
And what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yes.
And like you said, everybody, there's 3 quarterbacks that are all primed to take his job in the spring. So I kind of feel like, the getting is good.
Hit the road, Jack.
Get some of that NFL money. No.
What'd you say?
Do you guys want to call it there?
Up to you, man. Whatever's clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good ride tonight.
Yeah,
it was.
We can call a little early tonight. We usually stay 20 minutes late, so we get out here a little early.
Yeah. Anybody
I'm getting so used to college football games on like Tuesday and Wednesday nights, man. Now I'm like, wow, what am I also going to watch right now? It's still pretty early.
Yeah. I know. No NFL game tonight.
I'm even more nocturnal. I'm not doing anything than just watching Netflix and Amazon over here.
Yeah. Well, I got Peacock, so I got my other choices. So that works pretty good.
Hey, Brad, how do you? That sounds woeful. That sounds tough, man. I think it happened to one of my cousins once. How do you get the Facebook back? Did someone hack it? Or are you like blocked out?
Yeah.
Your Facebook.
So what happened is I got a new phone. And what happened is I had a 2-way verification system set up. When I got the new phone, it didn't transfer over. And what happened is I can't re-access it without getting in touch with Facebook customer service, which we need to verify everything. Well, I've already verified everything with them. So the only other thing I can do is I have a page already up. I would just have to go back and refriend everybody and rejoin groups, which will take a long time, but I could do that. It's no problemo. I could do that. I already have the account set up. So, but
no, for now we'll just
the old one back. It would be great. It would be great, but
right.
Yeah.
Dang.
Well, that's the reason why I haven't been posting articles or being able to contact you guys that way, because I got a new phone in like the first part of November. So it's been 2 months since I've been able to get on there and see it.
Wow.
So
gotcha.
Well, this one's working good too. So as long as we find a way to work, we're good.
This is good. I was just curious. When you mentioned that, I was saying, wow, that must be frustrating to get locked out of it.
But
you want to fix it. You have to rely on other people to just get back in.
I'll be honest with you. It's been kind of nice to just be on X and LinkedIn.
X.
So it has been
LinkedIn,
nice.
I'm not on X at all.
I still call it Twitter.
Or Twitter, as it's called. That's what it's called. So yeah.
What's X? I mean, right? What's X?
I don't know what's going on with that guy. Must be must.
But
Twitter.
Yeah, go ahead, Lou, and go ahead and talk about your show. I know you're starting a new year, right? A new season.
Yes. So on X or Q, what are we going to call it these days? Oh no. See what you guys want to do now? All right. So the new season begins for the Enhanced Sports Show on Saturday, 4 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Starting my 8th season as host. My goodness. Oh boy. And to kick off season number 8, well, we got the college football playoffs. The final regular season week of the NFL, week 18. We'll recap the Heisman Trophy race, which I think should have been a 2-man race instead of just one because it was that tight. We'll cover some hot stove reports that happened over the past couple of weeks. No, I won't be able to do all of them. Sorry. I'll do as many as I possibly can, though, within the allotted time. We'll catch up on some NHL and NBA news. Of course, UFC and WWE as well. Of course, thoughts and comments are always welcome. Sports trivia, this week in sports history, the feel-good story of the week, and, of course, the monthly look at the standings and the sports calendar, as I like to call it. So, as I said, it's the start of a new season. Going on my 8th year now. Number's still the same at the time, 512-543-4662. Nothing else has changed. So, so we can make 2025 a good year. So hopefully, don't forget, also on Facebook, just go to Facebook and type in the Enhanced Sports Show and go to YouTube and type in theenhancedsportsshow.com and you'll hear the show in its entirety. And hopefully with my new earphones, I'll be able to hear you. It's in the back.
So we will be back. This is the first show of 2025. We will be back next week. We will have Dustin on to talk about fantasy football. We are in week 18 this week, this Sunday. So we'll be talking how everyone did or what went wrong in fantasy football this year. But as always, before I go, I want to thank the men and women of our armed services and our first responders. Thank you for doing what you do. We would not be able to do that without you guys doing what you do. Like I said, guys, I'll be back. These three gentlemen make Thursday so great. I'll be back next week. Again, making it strong. Welcome to 2025 on the Walker Report. Thank you to all the networks that put us on the air and my sponsors. I'm still working on that as well. But anyway, guys, I will see you guys next week. I am the Sportster Bradley Walker. Peace.
Good night, folks.
Good show. See you guys.